Now the next cybersecurity tip is two-factor authentication or two-factor authentication. First of all, we must understand the meaning of two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication means two factors are required to prove your identity. Example is password plus code sent via SMS or email. This is two-factor authentication in which two factors are required. Some persons say that two-factor authentication and multi-factor authentication is same. However, there is subtle difference between the two. In case of multi-factor authentication, there may be two or more than two factors required for the purpose of authenticity. For example, in addition to password plus code which is sent on your mobile or an email, some biometric authenticity is required, such as facial recognition or fingerprints. There is a small device on which you have to put your fingers. It will prove your identity or authentic. It will authentify that the person or the user is correct. User is a correct user. It is not unauthorized user. So it is crucial to safeguard your email account, your social media, banking, and other online account with the help of two factor authentication. This two factor authentication or multi factor authentication protects your organization or your individual's infrastructure, computer infrastructure, your personal or confidential data, as well as applications from cyber attacks. Because in case of a cyber attack, if you are having a weak password and there is no two factor authentication or multi factor authentication is not there, then the hacker may immediately get access to your computer system because of weak passwords, or he may immediately crack into your bank account. And if hacker gets access to your computer system, it may delete your data, or it may unauthorized make unauthorized use of your personal data or personal videos. Then in case of banking account, if there is weak password, then it may also be possible that he may make some unauthorized transactions. So now the question arises, why 2FA, two factor authentication, or multi factor authentication is essential? Why? First is enhanced security. In case the cyber criminal or hacker is in a position or gets access to your password by any means, then he may delete your data or cause destruction to your computer system or do some other malicious activity. But in case of 2F factor authentication or multi factor authentication, he will also require the code which is sent on your mobile. So, two factor authentication or multi factor authentication makes it difficult for the hacker to get access to your computer system or get access to your data. Next is protection against phishing attack. These days, phishing attacks are very normal phishing scams in which some sort of urgency is shown by the cyber criminals. They behave or show that they are from some legitimate organization, and they want to you to click on a link or download some attachment. So even if by way of phishing attack some cyber criminal gets access to your password, even then the cyber criminal will not be in a position to assess the account, your account, your banking account, your email account, or your computer system without the second factor. Next is reduction of data breaches. If you have simply if you are simply using password to protect your account, then it may result into some data breach. But if you are making use of two factor authentication, multi factor authentication, then the chances of data breaches are likely to be reduced. Next is adaptability. In case of multi factor authentication or two factor authentication, the method used to your protect your account or protect your data may vary. For example, in case of high risk accounts, you may use password plus code, plus you may use biometric authentication. Biometric authentication. In case of less sensitive information or less sensitive account, you may use only two factors. Next is compliance. Many organizations or many regulations in force from the government angle provide that in respect of certain data such as GDPR or HIPAA, to which the regulations like GDPR or HIPAA applies, you have to make use of two factor authentication, multi factor authentication. In other words, we can say that if a company is dealing with the data as defined in the regulations such as GDPR or HIPAA, then to protect that data, the organization must make use of two factor authentication or multi factor authentication for that type of data which is protected by the regulation. To protect our online accounts such as email account, social media account, online banking, we can also make use of strong authentication methods such as time based one time passwords. Time based one time passwords are generated by authenticator apps such as Google Authenticator. In case of Google Authenticator, these are the passwords which are generated by the app, and they are valid for or change every 30 seconds. These these apps generate unique codes which change every 30 seconds. So in case of SMS which comes to your mobile, they can be intercepted. But in case of the codes which are generated by these authenticator apps, these are more secure. So by implementing two factor authentication or by implementing multi factor authentication, businesses as well as individuals can strengthen their defenses against unauthorized access and cyber attacks. We can protect. So, by making use of two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication, we can overall improve the cybersecurity exposure, cybersecurity posture on the part of the organization. So, we must understand the importance of making use of two-factor authentication and multi-factor authentication wherever possible. In the case of most of the banking websites, they provide the facility of two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication. We must make use of the same, and in case we are having a large number of employees in our organization which are dealing with various types of data, we must also make the provision that two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication is required when they want to log into their system. Thanks for watching. If you like our course, please spare some time to give a star rating to our course.